How you been, man? It's been a long time.
It's been a very long time. Yeah, no, I've been good. Just jumping, traveling the world, I guess.
Yeah, it's been 7 years since we talked. You were a junior at LHS, sitting on the track there with your dad and all, and 7 years later, you're a gold medal winner and getting ready for another Olympics. So things have
Yep.
gone as planned, I guess, huh?
Yeah, no, I guess so. I mean, I really shouldn't complain all that much, honestly. I would say the past few years have been pretty dang good. Honestly, time flies so fast too. I mean, it feels like it was just yesterday I was at Lafayette High, and now I'm here where I am. So yeah, grateful for everything that's happened. But man, it moves so dang fast.
4 years ago when you competed in the Tokyo Games, you were a first time Olympian, and we were in a pandemic, so things were a lot different. There weren't people in the stands. Going into this year, you've won a gold medal, you've been in Olympics. We're not in a pandemic, so I'm sure this year your mindset will be different, and it'll be a different feel as well for you.
Yeah, it will for sure. I mean, I think it's in a sense it's going to be like my first real Olympics. I mean, being able to have spectators and whatnot, and I would say Tokyo was. I mean, it was quite stressful to be honest. I mean, especially with the pandemic and everything, and there was a few athletes that were testing positive and then getting kicked out of the village and kicked out of the competition. And so I feel like that was one of those things I almost wanted to get it over with rather than even just being able to enjoy like the Olympic experience. So I think this will be more of a real experience, but it is nice to already kind of still have that Olympic experience in the sense of I have the gold medal already in the back pocket. So I think this time, the expectations are higher than ever, of course. But I've already done it, so I already know what it takes to go in there and get the job done. So I have that. Yeah, I have that experience. So yeah, I mean this will be a lot more of a real type feeling. Definitely more than Tokyo.
When you look at your life as a pole vaulter and as an athlete. I mean, I sat down with your dad in your trophy room at your house last week, and we talked about you. And he had like some of your old track shoes hanging there when you were little, so we were kind of reminiscing. And you know, I wonder where the passion and the drive comes from. Obviously, your parents were really good athletes, track stars, and you had a pole vaulting track in your backyard so you could practice as a kid, and you had everything you needed to become a great pole vaulter. But where does the passion, the drive that you personally have come from? Because you have to continue to work if you want to get to the level you're at and stay there. And you obviously have that. Where does that come from, Mondo?
I think it just comes from myself. I think it's just I mean it's just love. I mean it just is the word, I guess, passion. I mean it's just like in my soul in a way. I think that from the very first moment that I ever stepped onto the track, even that first time just in my backyard, I just was absolutely obsessed with the event, and I just wanted to be the absolute best version of myself and the best that I can be every time on the track. And it was always just something different that came out of me every time I stepped onto the track. I just was I don't know, it's just like it's an uncontrollable type of feeling, but I think I just deeply obsessed and deeply in love with the event, just everything around it. I mean, of course, I think that it definitely helped and had a lot of influence over me that my dad was so passionate and so much in love
Uh-huh.
with the event also, because then I think a little bit of that rubbed off on me, I would say. But other than that, I mean, I think you just sometimes just people naturally just gravitate towards things. And for me, pole vault was just one of these things that just came so natural and just something that I fell in love with from the first try.
Let's go back to yeah, to getting ready for this Olympic Games. There's several Americans that are major competitors for you, and I think Kendricks is one of them who you being an American, obviously. What's your feel going into this? I mean, is it going to be a tight race as far as for the gold again? You feel like Kendricks can beat you, or it just depends on what type of day you're having?
No, I mean, I think honestly, I'm really just focused on myself, and I'm not really worried about the competitors all that much. I know that there's a lot of good guys and a lot of guys that can jump really high and that can jump well, but I know that if I'm jumping the way that I know that I can jump, and I just do what I know that I can do, what I think that I'm going to be able to do out there on the track, then I think that it shouldn't. Yeah, I should be the best man out there because I just have that kind of confidence when I step out on the track and I got the pole in my hand that I'm the best guy out here. So for me, I think I'm just gonna go in there and I'm just gonna try to jump as high as I possibly can. And I feel like that should be enough as long as I do it at the level that I know that I can. So no, I mean, as far as competition, I don't really count anybody out, and I know that when it is the a big championship meeting, it's something like the Olympics, that there's always going to be people that are going to perform to kind of this next level that they're even, they always take it up a notch. That's just kind of how it is, and because it's just, everything's on the line when it comes to Olympics for a track athlete. But I think I'm ready for all of that, and I think that I'm going to step up my game to even another level that than what I'm at right now. So I think I just focus on myself and jump as high as I can, and I know that if I do what I do, then it should work out fine.
I know your profile, Mondo, is a lot higher in Sweden and in Europe because track athletes are viewed differently than they are here in the States. You got advertisements with your face on vehicles, you've got on buildings, billboards, and you come back here to Louisiana, you can kind of be the average guy, just kind of slide in, go tailgate at LSU games and relax. Talk about that and how different it is for you overseas and your profile with also with the paparazzi, and then you come back here, you're just a normal guy. It's a lot different. And
Yeah, it's quite different. I'm like a double agent almost in a way. It's like I really live two different lives. And I really love both of them. I love my time here in Sweden. Of course, it's a lot different experience than in Louisiana, because all the competitions and whatnot that I do are around here in Europe. I compete for Sweden, of course, and I'm definitely a lot much more of a household name here than I am in Louisiana. But I still think that I get um, some good love and respect when I'm in Louisiana. I don't think, of course, people are going to have the same amount of yeah, they're not going to understand everything that's really going on within the sport. I think that every 4 years when it's around Olympic time, then I think things start to ramp up a little bit and people start to follow it and whatnot. But I think in between those years, people don't really have that good of a following as far as the people back home in Louisiana. But I love that I'm able to still kind of keep, I guess, the balance between the both. And I love my time here, but I also love going back to Louisiana. It's of course a lot more chill, and that's more of my downtime. I usually go back in the fall and in between my seasons.
when you look at your upbringing here, I mean, your mom's Swedish, your dad's a Cajun. I mean, you've got a lot of culture in your life and in your upbringing. You speak Sweden. You speak what's your is it
Swedish,
called
yeah.
Swedish? Yeah, you
Swedish,
speak
yeah,
Swedish
yeah.
fluently now, and obviously English because you're American. Has that you think that's helped you transition to being an international track star because you were exposed to Europe at such a young age compared to just coming right out of college or high school and going right into that? You've been going overseas visiting your relatives for years, so you were kind of you already kind of been you know you, exposed to that culture before you got there as a pro.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, our household was always pretty, I guess, multicultural in a way. I mean, especially with mom, and I think she always tried to bring the Swedish influence into the household, even in Lafayette, because she just wanted to kind of keep that little taste of back home for her. And I think it was important for us to kind of influence us in that way, also to kind of keep her side of the family alive. And then in the summers when we weren't playing baseball and whatnot, and we had a free time, we would go and visit her parents and my other half of the family that's here in Sweden. So no, I mean, I always had that connection, even growing up in Lafayette. But I mean, of course, now a lot exemplified for sure. Being the fact that I have my own place here and whatnot, and I also have my girls from here, and I have kind of her family, which I've kind of been adopted into also. So I guess I have a lot tighter ties now here than I did from when I was younger. But I think that we always did kind of keep both kind of bloodlines in the household, even when I was growing up in Lafayette. Yeah.
Your dad was telling me, I was surprised that he said they make pretty good crawfish over there in Sweden, but it's different than the crawfish over here. Do you agree with that, or is it not quite the same as the crawfish here? Not as big, he said, as they are over here.
No, they're not as big. And you eat it cold, and
Okay.
so but it's the same kind of idea, I guess. Like, you have crawfish parties, and you eat crawfish and whatnot. But you boil the crawfish and then you kind of soak them in this like kind of dill
Okay.
salty water broth,
Hmm.
and then you eat them. So they don't really taste like spicy, and you eat them cold also. And they don't really taste like spicy, really. They're more like cold and salty, which I think, I mean, they're good. Yeah, it's more like dill flavored. So
Huh.
no, but they're good. And then you take like it's called schnapps. It's like this really strong liquor with it. So it's not like really spicy with a cold beer
Yeah.
like you would do down south. But so it's different. I mean, I would say honestly, I would rather I'd rather the Cajun version when it comes
Uh-huh.
to crawfish in this way. But they do shellfish quite good here. But it's more on like the salty and fresh side rather than the really heavy seasoning and spicy and like the way we do it in Lafayette.
Explain to people, Mondo, when you're at the point where you're pushing yourself up over that pole, pole vaulting, what goes through your mind? Is it like do you get a rush when you get to that point where you climax over the pole? Just give people a feel. I mean, obviously you're looking up so you can see, I'm sure, the sky or whatever, but what it's like to be at those heights that you are going over a pole. I mean, most people will never experience that. What is it like for you at the highest level?
Yeah, I mean it's like this kind of flow state, I guess, that I try to be in. And I think that when I'm jumping really well and everything's just kind of clicking, I think um, for the most part, I'm not really thinking about much, and I think everything just kind of very fluid and everything just kind of on autopilot. I think that's usually when things are flowing the best because I think it's a little bit similar to golf and like a golf swing in the sense of it's such a complex and complicated movement and quick movement that you don't really have that much time to think about too many things and too many cues. You have to let everything just kind of flow and be fluid in that way. So for me, you just kind of like I know what the feeling of a good jump is, and I know the right timing and the right pocket to find. And it's more just kind of finding that right timing. And I think I played this kind of dance with the pole almost, where I'm just kind of reacting to whatever the pole does and whatever my run does. So I think it's kind of almost like second nature and like instinctual at this point too, to where I'm just kind of reacting for whatever the jump is giving me on the specific jump because every jump is so different also. So it's yeah, it's a lot of just kind of like I don't know. It's quick though. It happens very quick, so it's kind of hard to explain everything that really goes on in the jump. But when you really connect with it just right and you time it up perfectly, then it's a very beautiful motion, beautiful feeling.
I hear your name thrown out there, with the great athletes right now, like Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, some of the great athletes. I'm hearing your name thrown out there, and you're only 24, so you're still a very young guy. Um, when you hear that, does that kind of stun you? I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, you still got a lot of your career left, hopefully, but does that kind of stun you that your name is getting mentioned and that in the pole vaulting world? Uh, I'm hearing that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a cool thing, I guess. It's not really something that I think about all that much. I mean, I think it's always hard to compare yourself to other athletes in completely different sports. It's apples to oranges in a sense. But for me, I just try to be the best pole vaulter that I can be, and I try to be the absolute best every time I step onto the track and be as dominant as I possibly can. And I have that confidence that when I step out on the track, that I'm gonna be the best guy, and I'm gonna be the last man standing. I'm gonna be the guy that has the capability to jump the highest. But when it comes to other things, it's hard to compare myself to other people. I just want to be the best pole vaulter that there is and there ever was, and then other after that, I can't really control anything besides that.
Your dad was telling me that you and obviously your brothers played baseball and all and were pretty good, and you had a point in your career when you were younger where you were focusing just on baseball. You'd kind of given up pole vaulting, and then you decided to go back to it. There was a year or so, he said, where you were really focused on baseball. I'm curious, what made you go back to pole vaulting, or was that just something you just need a little change, or what was that about? Was that something with your brothers, a little
No.
competition, or what?
No, well, no, I think for me it was always going to be pole vaulting, but I mean, I think I guess how this works. I mean, the little league system and your 12-year-old year, I was on the All Star team at 12-year-old year, and I was trying to make the Little League World Series, and I think for me, like that summer, I mean, we practiced basically every day. And so, I mean, my main focus was, okay, I'm just going to try to be as focused on trying to be the best player that I can be this summer and just focus on baseball, because I used to just pole vault every day in between playing baseball and whatnot. But you know, I mean, probably a little bit of jealousy, I guess, considering that my brother was on the 2005 Little League World Series team that that Lafayette took. So I always kind of had that dream of mine to also go to the Little League World Series. Unfortunately, we came up a little bit short. We lost to South Lake Charles in the state championship game, but which hurt a little bit. But I knew that it was always going to be pole vault. I think it was only just that summer that I really wanted to lock in, because I really had this dream of mine in my head to go to the League World Series. Because I mean, of course, I think like a lot of the kids growing up and Louisiana, we always watch the League World Series when it's on around that time in the summer. So, but but it didn't happen, and I went back to pole vaulting, which worked out good.
Do you have anything you want to say, Mondo, to your fans here in Lafayette and Acadiana? And I know you got a lot of friends still here, and everybody will be watching to see how you do in the when the pole vaulting events come up. Anything you want to say about to your peeps here? I don't know. Are you gonna have? I know your family's going over there. Are you gonna have any of your close friends making the trip to Paris?
Yeah, I'm gonna have quite a big gang, actually. Like a lot of, I mean, pretty much all of my family. Gonna have a lot of, I mean, have a few of my best buddies also from Lafayette are gonna go up to Paris. Yeah, so it's gonna be a really good gang over there. But so yeah, I mean, super excited about it. I mean, everybody, I guess that is supporting me in Lafayette. I'm super appreciative of it. Um, of course, I know that I'm gonna be at the Olympics, wearing Sweden across my chest, and I won't be, competing for the United States, but I promise you that I'll have the people in Lafayette and Louisiana in my heart when I'm jumping. That's for sure. Yeah.
You have any type of pre-jump rituals you do? Anything? You know how some, baseball players, some of them say they don't wash their socks for, a whole season if they're playing well. You have any type of rituals or anything you do before your jumps that you could tell us about?
No, I really don't. And I get this question actually quite a bit, but no, I think I try to be as little superstitious as possible. I think it's a good thing not to be superstitious, honestly. I feel like you can get caught up in a lot of that stuff a little bit too much. And I think my girlfriend is superstitious for the both of us almost. So I try to stay away from it a little bit. But I mean, because I had times in high school where I remember I jumped really good with these certain pairs of socks, and I was like, okay, I'm going to wear these socks every time. And then I'm such a forgetful person that I just forgot the socks the next meet, and I jumped really well that meet. So I was like, yeah, maybe it wasn't the socks. Maybe I'm just good at this. So no, I don't really have superstitions. I think that I mean I think there's probably things that I do that kind of just happen as far as like similarities in within the jumps and before the jumps. But no, I try not to look into those kind of things. I try to almost purposely do different things before competitions just to not steer away from that. Yeah.
Got one last question for you. Your dad's obviously your coach, and that's worked out really well. Not
hmm
every young guy could have his dad coach him and be able to excel in a sport like you have. Why has it worked for you?
I think it works because we love the event so much, and I think we love the sport so much. So I think that kind of that shared passion for it is how we're able to do it so well. And I think that he doesn't have to question my love for it also, because he knows how much I love it, and he knows that I want to be the best version of myself. And so it's not something that he has to force upon me, and not something that he wants out of me that I don't really necessarily want. And so I think that's probably the most important thing. And then also I think we're just very good at being able to have a balance to where we know when to really set it on. And I mean, I would be lying if I said that we didn't have a lot of dinners at home where we're talking a lot about pole vaulting. And mostly it's not even about me. It's just pole vault drama, gossip, just talking bullshit, just talking nonsense, I guess, about pole vault in general, because we love the sport that much and everything that is around it. But I think we have a really good balance, just me and both of my parents, of knowing when to turn it off, and when we can just relax, and when we can just have as normal of a, you know, father son, mother son relationship as we can. And so yeah, I don't know. We we just figured out a way to have a good balance with it. I know that not everybody really works to have their father as their coach, but for us, we've just kind of figured out a way to do it.